Hi, I'm Jamie from Not So Wimpy Teacher, and I'm back for another video about teaching math. I've been doing an entire series, so I hope you've been catching them. If not, I would start back at the beginning of the math series, because today's video is actually all about organizing those math centers that I was showing you in my last video. Okay. So I was talking to you in my last video about how my students do a rotation that I call independent. You can call whatever you like. And I use my math center resource for that particular center rotation. I get tons of questions about how to organize that resource. And through the years, I've organized it a few different ways. And so I thought I would share with you some ways that I've come up with, and you may come up with some more. Okay. The important thing is that you're really going to have to organize it in two ways. I hope this makes sense. But when you buy my Math Center bundle, you're getting 9 sets of centers. So if you bought my 3rd grade bundle, you got 9 sets. You got division, multiplication, fractions, back to school, place value, test prep, etc. Inside each of those sets is 10 centers. So my 3rd grade bundle came with 9 different sets of 10 centers. So it came with division, and there's 10 division centers. Okay. So that's just kind of how it comes if you've never purchased one. Your students don't need to be able to access all the centers at once. So you're going to have a storage system for the centers that you're not using right now, like you're putting on a shelf or in a cabinet, because at the beginning of the year you're not using test prep, right? But you're also going to need a way to organize these centers that students are using right now. And so I'm going to show you both strategies, okay? All right, let's start with how you're just going to organize the different sets of centers to put in your cabinet, put on a shelf somewhere so that you can access them when it's time, okay? So each one of my bundles comes with 9 different sets. My favorite way right now to organize these are in these little Sterilite containers, and I have one for each of the 9 sets that come in a grade level bundle. So I have 9 of these little containers. I purchased my Sterilite containers from Target. I have seen similar ones at Walmart. They are, let me measure it for you because I get asked all the time how big they are. You can get them on Amazon, but the times I've looked on Amazon, they've been very expensive. So I don't know, maybe you get a better deal. They're about 6.5 inches wide and 10.5 inches long, about 6.5 by 10.5 inches. So what I like about them is that I can put the 10 centers, like this is measurement set. It has 10 measurement centers in it. I can put all 10 of the measurement centers in here. And it also fits my master copy of the student recording book. It'll just fit right inside there. So then it's easy for me to find my master copy of the recording book to make student copies when it gets close to the time that my students are going to be using the measurement centers. Sometimes I'm really organized and I have my centers inside these bins more organized. This is fractions. I have the master copy of the booklet. And then I have 10 little plastic baggies for each of the 10 different centers. And they're all like in her own baggie. And sometimes I'm nice and organized like that. Other times, I just put all of the materials in the container. And no baggies. All 10 centers are just in here. They are color coded, so it doesn't take me long to get them organized for the students when it's time. So you can decide what kind of mood you're in when you prep your centers. But I love these little Sterilite containers. They're small enough that I can fit a lot on one shelf. They're sturdy, they stack. I feel like these will last for just a really long time. And so that's why I like these Sterilite containers, okay? Again, I purchased mine at Target. I have seen similar ones at Walmart. Maybe you might check Amazon, but I wouldn't pay too terrible much for it. I'd check your Target price first. It's been a while since I purchased mine, so I don't remember the exact price of each bin. But with back to school starting, they tend to have more containers at these stores with like college kids and stuff. I find there's lots more container options, so check it out. I've heard of people even finding them at like Big Lots and stuff. You just never know, okay? Sterilite containers are my favorite way to store like all the sets from the bundle. Another way I came up with somewhat recently were these plastic envelopes, okay? I purchased mine from the Container Store, but if you go on Amazon and just search plastic envelopes, you'll find them there too. So easy to get a hold of and really inexpensive to get a whole set of them. They're bigger than a full sheet of paper because I'm able, my label is a full sheet of paper. So they're about 10 by maybe 12 and a half, 10 by 12 and a half. Plastic envelope. It has like a little slider here. So it's a little bit more sturdy than a Ziploc bag. I feel like you could take these and even put them inside your filing cabinet if that's where you wanted to store them. So then inside I would put all 10 centers as well as the recording book, and you can even put the answer key in here because it's bigger than a sheet of paper. So that's kind of nice. And then you could maybe store them in a file cabinet or a plastic file bin or something. You could also just set them on a bookshelf. So I thought this was good. I don't think this is as sturdy as the Sterilite. I think it's a little cheaper and maybe a space-saving idea. If you're really short on space, this could really work out. I don't know how long this little zipper will work, but at the same time, these are the centers that you're storing. They're not the centers your students are accessing every day. So it's only you who's going to open this only a few times a year. So I think it's a pretty good option. And then, seriously, this is a Sterilite container that I purchased. And this one is bigger than the others I was showing you. I also got it at Target. This one is 11 by, I don't know, maybe 13. 11 by 13 maybe. I put all 9 of my 4th grade Math Center units in here. It's slightly bulging right here, but it fit, it closed. Inside, I have the units in Ziploc bags. I actually used quart bags, so they don't quite close, but that's okay. So I have like a quart bag for each of my math units. So a little harder to access the exact unit you want when you want it versus using those small Sterilites or even the envelopes. But this is cheap and it is simple, okay? I've got bags for each of my sets. Like this set here is the 2-digit addition. I guess this is actually my 2nd grade set. This is my 2-digit addition. I've got my place value. So I put all 10 centers in one baggie, put all 9 baggies in this one Sterilite container. I did have to kind of arrange them just so the lid would still fit. But then this one container could go in the cabinet or on a shelf. And it has all 10 centers. It's just going to be harder to find exactly which center you're looking for. But it's cheap, it's simple, it's space saving. So those are some of my ideas for how you might keep just your whole bundle. Like after you purchase it and you're printing and prepping over the summer, you're going to end up with 9 different sets of centers, and each one of those sets has 10 centers. You're going to end up with 90 centers. You got to have a way to keep the measurement centers with measurement and the fractions with fractions, right? But then as you're getting closer to school starting, you're also going to want to think about how will my students access the set we're using. So when I put out the division centers, I don't want to just put out this tub and say, go guys, because this would be a mess of materials that they're just grabbing at. I need a way to put all 10 of the centers so that they can easily just grab one center, because they're not going to grab all 10 at once and take them back to their desk. They're going to grab one to work on, right? So one option, these Sterilite containers, one option is to use them for your students. Instead of labeling them with the different topics, label them centers 1 through 10, so you would need 10 of these to do this. Label them centers 1 through 10, And then in this box, I would just put center 1's materials. And then I'd have another box where I put center 2 materials and another box for center 3 materials. And you can stack these on a shelf, a cabinet, a corner of your room. And that way your students would know they're looking at their recording book and they see, oh, I haven't done center 4 yet. They go over there, they scan it, grab center 4 materials, head back to their desk. These are super sturdy. So students are taking them from the shelf to their desk or the floor. They're in and out of them. It's handy how sturdy these are. These are going to last a long time. And I like that. When students are going to be handling them a lot, they tend to need something sturdier. So this is an option. Again, I got these Sterilite containers at Target. You would need 10. And then you don't get 10 for each unit, you just get 10. So I put out my division centers. I put the center 1 in here and then put center 2 in the other box, etc. When they're done with division and I'm switching it out and I'm giving them fractions, I would take all the division centers, put them back in my box labeled division, I get out my fraction centers and put them in these boxes. Okay? So these are the boxes the students use all year. I'm switching the centers out each time. Okay? So that's an option. It is going to be a little more expensive to buy those little tubs. Again, I don't remember exactly how much I got them for. They weren't terribly expensive, but you need 10 of them, so it adds up quick. I got them at Target, and I think I've seen similar ones at Walmart. They're about the size of half a sheet of paper, in case you don't want to bring a ruler to the store. Okay, but I have some other options, okay? If you don't want to do the Sterilite containers for the centers your students need access and are using right then, here's another option. I used this a lot in my classroom. I loved it. Pencil pouches. I got these at Walmart for $1 each. So I bought 10 of them because remember there's 10 different centers in each set. So I bought 10 of them and labeled them 1 through 10. Then also at Walmart, I got this little Sterilite file cube. It's mini. It's just big enough to fit these pencil pouches in. It's really cute, isn't it? I got this for $1 too at Walmart. So this was a cool way to store them all year, easy to access. They could just grab which one they needed, take it back to where they're working. These zippers are more sturdy than a Ziploc bag. These Walmart ones are actually pretty sturdy. They're not so bad. I didn't have too many problems with zippers. I don't know that it's going to last like 20 years with kids going in and out of them, but I've used mine for several years. And every now and again, like a string might get caught that I needed to pull out. But for the most part, this worked out really well. It doesn't take up much space at all. This little cube here, there's my ruler. I saw them at Walmart already. They have a whole bunch near the back to school supplies. All different colors too. This little cube is about like a 7.5 by 7.5. Maybe it's not quite a square. I guess it's 7.5 by about 8.5. But works perfectly with the little pencil pouches. I got these for $1. I've also seen pencil pouches on Amazon, and I bought, again, 10 of them since there's 10 centers in each set. So when I put a set of centers out, I want to put all 10 centers out so that my students can access them. So this was a really cool option. All right, another option instead of pencil pouches are these little plastic envelopes. I showed you how you could use big plastic envelopes to store like a whole unit. But you could use smaller plastic envelopes to store the centers that your students are currently working on. Again, I got these at the Container Store, but look on Amazon, they have them. Oh, Amazon has everything. They're like a business size envelope, about 10 by 5. These ones that I have are about 10 by 5. They work out perfectly. They're going to be sturdier than a Ziploc, because you could just use Ziplocs. About a quart size will work pretty good. And you could use Ziplocs, but these are going to be a little sturdier than Ziplocs, so it's up to you. Easier for me to label and a little bit sturdier, so they last longer. They were not expensive. Now, you could take these plastic envelopes and store them in that little dollar tub I got at Walmart too. They work out really well there. But another option that I came across that I really loved was this little magnetic tub. It's magnetic. How cool is that? So it would stick to my whiteboard. It doesn't even take up any shelf space. And you could use the plastic envelopes or the pencil pouches fit in there too. Oh, love it. So I got my magnetic tub at the Container Store, but seriously, with all the stuff they put out for college kids and lockers and that sort of thing, I would look at Walmart and Target in their schoolish section. You know, they always have like locker supplies. I would look there for magnetic stuff, and even on Amazon, a little magnetic storage tub type thing. I think this is great for saving space, whether you use the pencil pouches or the plastic envelopes, or even if you decide just to go with the Ziploc bags. This does not take up any space in your shelves. If you have somewhere like a file cabinet, you could stick this on the side of your ugly file cabinet, and now it's useful to your students. So I loved this idea. All right. I think that's it. Those are some of my suggestions. But you probably want all of these free labels. I made labels in various sizes for different containers and things that I showed you. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the video description so you can download that file and use those labels. Hopefully whatever storage you decide to use, one of the sizes of labels will work out for you. I included labels for like each individual set of centers, as well as labels that say center 1 through 10, so that you could use those for the centers that your students need to access. So I hope that helps you to get your math centers organized. I will be back with one more video in this series, and it'll be all about starting your math workshop, starting your centers, training your kiddos so that you can be successful all year. Bye, guys.